Ewa, the scent of Bode Thomas Street. Stay with us and enjoy the end of this beautiful story. Slowly, the car door opened, and out stepped a woman. The crowd gasped. Ewa. She immediately tried to hide her face, but it was too late. The man who was supposed to travel the next day, her other man, was standing right there, staring at her in shock. You? What are you doing in his car? He asked, his voice a mix of disbelief and anger. The Alhaji frowned. What do you mean his car? She was with me in Paris. I just brought her back. Silence fell over the street. People whispered amongst themselves, the realization hitting them like a bolt of lightning. The perfect woman. The woman they had all admired. The woman mothers had told their daughters to emulate. She was no saint. The two men began arguing, their voices growing louder. The crowd watched, stunned as they fought over Ewa like two desperate fools. By morning, the news had spread like wildfire. The entire street was buzzing. The women of Bode Thomas Street were outraged. The men were humiliated. The young women who had once aspired to be like Ewa felt betrayed. A crowd gathered at her house. They banged on her door, demanding answers. When she finally came out, she was met with disgusted stares. Shameless girl, one of the women spat. How could you deceive us like this? How can you live such a disgraceful life? Another shouted. For the first time, Ewa was cornered. She had no more lies, no more grand illusions to hide behind. And so, with tears of frustration, she screamed back. Blame it on your husbands. Blame it on your fathers. They were the ones who chased after me. Almost all of them are guilty, so don't come here pretending to be saints. Gasps rippled through the crowd. The women turned to their husbands, their fathers, their brothers, and one by one, they lowered their heads in shame. Lessons learned. A decision was made. Ewa was asked to leave Bode Thomas Street, never to return. She emptied her house, packed her things, and left. Her name spoken only in whispers. She had no choice but to leave for another country, far from the shame, far from the fingers pointing at her wherever she went. But the damage had been done. The mothers of Bode Thomas Street learned a painful lesson that day, to never compare their daughters to anyone without knowing their full story. They realized that outward appearances meant nothing if the truth remained hidden. The men, once arrogant and untouchable, walked with their heads bowed. Their shame had been exposed, and though they were forgiven, they would never forget the disgrace they had brought upon themselves. And the young women, they no longer looked up to Ewa. Instead, they began to appreciate themselves for who they were, no longer feeling inadequate in the shadow of someone who had only seemed perfect. Bode Thomas Street was never the same again. House owners became wary of renting their homes to single women they didn't know well. The air of silent competition among the wealthy remained, but the illusion of perfection had been shattered forever. And somewhere, in another country, Ewa started over, but she would never escape the truth of what happened on Bode Thomas Street. Because no matter how fast she ran, her name, her past, and her shame followed. Today's story teaches us not to measure our worth or judge others solely by what you see on the surface. Things are not always as the same. It also teaches us that living a dishonest life, especially one built on lies and deceit, will eventually lead to shame and consequences. Lastly, remind yourself that self-worth should come from within, not from societal pressure or comparisons to others. Do you like our stories? Please like, share, watch our stories to the end, and comment for more beautiful stories. Thank you. I love you.